So I'm Candace Nelson. I'm executive pastry chef and co-founder of Sprinkles Cupcakes. The idea of Sprinkles came about really organically because I have a huge lifelong passion for baking. And actually I grew up a lot of my life, childhood, overseas. And I was living in places like Indonesia and Singapore and Hong Kong. And I would have a hankering for, my Native American homeland desserts. Things like chocolate chip cookies, brownies, cupcakes. And you couldn't go to the local store in Indonesia and pick one of those things up, so I had to make them myself. And so I spent a lot of time in the kitchen with my mom baking these things that I missed from home. Initially, right out of college, I actually went into the financial industry. I never would have thought that I could make a living baking, so it didn't even occur to me to pursue that right off the bat. What I realized I loved doing best was making something that someone could essentially eat every day, but that was still as artful as, a plated restaurant dessert or a special occasion cake. So I came up with the idea of elevating the lowly cupcake by using the best ingredients, making it in a whole variety of flavors, and baking fresh and creating a beautiful, elegant, simple design as well. So my husband and I opened the first ever cupcakes only bakery 6 years ago. April 2005 we opened our doors, and people thought it was the dumbest idea they'd ever heard of. No one wanted to lease to us. Everybody thought we'd be toast in 2 months. So one landlord, potential landlord, actually even hung up on my husband when he called. So there were a lot of naysayers out there, but it was just one of those things that I felt truly passionate about, and I thought, I don't care if I fall flat on my face, I believe in this idea, and I wanted to do it. About 8 months after we opened our first store, Oprah Winfrey talked about us on her show. And as you can imagine, the phone started ringing, not just from California, but from all over the country, and we even had international calls coming in, people begging us to ship our cupcakes. And as I mentioned, we have this obsessive, attention to freshness and baking. We don't just want you to eat your cupcake the same day, we want you to eat it within hours of it being baked. And if you start shipping, then obviously you're not going to be eating our cupcake until the next day. So I was very against that. But we wanted to obviously attend to this demand that had popped up from this great exposure we'd had. We didn't want to disappoint people, so that's when we decided to come up with the mix. And Williams-Sonoma couldn't believe when we started developing the product, and we said, no, we have to use Nielsen Massey vanilla powder, and we have to use the Calibo cocoa, we have to use the same ingredients we're using in our store. And they're like, it's going to be so expensive. We said, that's okay, because that's what we do, and we'll take the cut. We won't make as much money on each mix because we want the product to be as similar to what customers can get in our store as possible. When we first started 6 years ago, going into a new market, we were always the first one. And then sometime a few years ago, we started entering new markets, and we weren't the first one anymore. People had been inspired by what we were doing, and they started opening up, similar concepts. And so for us to come into a market and not be the first one, and to have other, local cupcake makers is not unique, and it's not unusual for us. And what we found is that we have a lot of fans who've already been to our stores in other cities and love what we do, and are excited for us to open in their market. And when we do open in their market, we find that the market for cupcakes actually expands. It's not like we're coming in and just taking a slice of the pie from someone else. The pie actually grows. So we're hoping that'll happen here as well. It's not just about the cupcake, it's about the feeling you get when you buy and experience a cupcake. It's about going with your friend, or going with your grandmother, or it's sort of the memories that are built around sharing a cupcake with someone. I am always amazed when I think about the kids that have grown up, going to Sprinkles on their birthday, and that's always going to be a part of their childhood experience. I'll never forget seeing, a grandmother who'd obviously just picked up her granddaughter from ballet school, and they were sitting, on our bench sharing a cupcake, and it's just amazing to see, my business becoming a part of the fabric of someone else's life and their memories. We are always listening to our customers. We've got great customers who talk to us on Facebook and email us at eatitsprinkles.com with all of their suggestions. We even have a page where people can vote for where the next Sprinkles location should be. And we listen to all of that. And I've developed flavors based on customers' feedback, such as we have a gluten-free cupcake now, and we have a vegan cupcake now. Both of which are flavors that I never anticipated ever developing, but our customers said, please, please, please. And so I educated myself and I did it, and it's been great. The response has been great. As a baker, you love to see people eat your product. I mean, it's still very personal to me. These are my recipes, and you know, everyone who comes into my store that enjoys their cupcake, that means the world to me. So to realize that this is going on now in 9 cities is kind of like, oh my God, amazing, right? And just have the experience to meet different people in all these different places where we have stores. I mean, how fun to be able to make DC partially my home now and have a reason to come back time and time again.